Welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're going to break down the complex and, let's be honest, incredibly painful journey of a relationship with a narcissist. We're going to look at the whole playbook, from that magnetic beginning all the way to the tough but ultimately liberating escape. It all kicks off with this feeling that is so intense, it feels like fate. It's not just, oh, they're cute. It's this deep, almost shocking sense of recognition. The feeling that maybe for the very first time in your life, someone actually truly sees you. But what is really going on in that perfect fairy tale beginning? Let's peel back the layers on this first incredibly intoxicating phase. Okay, this is so important to understand. This person doesn't just happen to be your soulmate. No, they are actively studying you. They're listening to all your old wounds, your biggest dreams, your secret insecurities, and then they literally mirror that right back at you, building a personality that is custom-made to be your perfect match. And here's the thing. This incredible connection, it's not really about them seeing you. It's all about what you provide for them. It's a transaction. They aren't falling for you. They are falling in love with the constant validation, the nonstop admiration, and the perfect ego boost you give them. It's what's known as narcissistic supply. And this whole phase, it actually has a name: idealization. And it's not magic. It's a psychological hook. It's a carefully built too-good-to-be-true fantasy that is specifically designed to pull you in and lock down your admiration. But of course, that perfect fantasy, well, it can't last, right? The next phase kicks in with a shift that is so subtle, it feels less like a change and more like your reality is slowly being corrupted. This is exactly why it's so confusing. There's no big aha moment where they suddenly turn into a monster. It's a slow burn. It's a joke that stings just a little too much, or a piece of advice that feels a lot like criticism. It happens so gradually that you start to question yourself, thinking, am I just overreacting? And this right here, this is their playbook. The words they use are just a cover for what's really happening. When they say it was just a joke, what they're really doing is testing your boundaries. Your inventing things isn't a simple disagreement. It's a direct assault on your memory. It's a slow, calculated dismantling of your own gut feelings. And there's a name for this, too: gaslighting. Its purpose is brutally simple: to disconnect you from your own mind. See, when you stop trusting your own feelings and your own memories, you become so much easier to control. A narcissist feels the most powerful when you feel at your weakest. So, if it's this damaging, this awful, why is it so ridiculously hard to leave? Well, the answer isn't about weakness. It's about chemistry. You're caught in a powerful, addictive cycle. Your brain gets totally hooked on this roller coaster, the incredible highs of affection, followed by the crushing lows of rejection or the silent treatment. It creates this chemical storm in your brain. It's actually the same principle behind a slot machine addiction. You become addicted to the hope of the next win, that next little hit of affection. This whole thing leads to a phenomenon called trauma bonding. And this is key. You aren't bonded to the actual person with all their cruelty and chaos. You are chemically and emotionally bonded to the hope that the good version of them, the one you met at the very beginning, is going to come back. You're basically trying to rescue a person who never really existed in the first place. And living in the cycle, always chasing that hope, comes at a massive emotional price. It slowly chips away at who you are until eventually you reach a breaking point. Does any of this start to sound familiar? You find yourself walking on eggshells, constantly trying to manage their mood. You analyze every single word you say. Your own needs, they get buried. Even your smile starts to feel like a performance. You start to shrink yourself to keep the peace. But here is the great, twisted irony of it all. As you get smaller, they seem to get bigger. Because behind that big mask of confidence, it's not strength. It's a deeply fragile ego, profound insecurity, and this huge emotional void that they desperately need you to fill. They need to control you because deep down, they're terrified that without it, they're nothing. The breaking point usually isn't some big, dramatic explosion. More often, it's a quiet, heartbreaking moment of clarity. You look in the mirror one day and you just don't recognize the exhausted, anxious person staring back at you. You might still love them, but a part of you that loves yourself finally starts to scream for help. And that quiet scream, that's the start of the final chapter. It's the hardest part of the entire journey, but it's also the most important, the escape. And then the rebirth. And let's be crystal clear, leaving is brutal. It feels like detoxing from a powerful drug because chemically, that's kind of what's happening. Your brain will be screaming at you to go back for another fix. But in the middle of all that pain, for the first time in forever, your soul can finally take a full breath. Recovery isn't a race. It's this slow process of collecting small, sacred victories. It's the first time you laugh without checking to see how they'll react. It's the morning you wake up and realize that knot of anxiety in your stomach is gone. It's the slow, steady journey of looking in the mirror and finally recognizing yourself again. And somewhere in this healing process, you learn the most fundamental truths that this relationship tried so hard to erase from your mind. Real, healthy love is not a battlefield. It is not something you are supposed to survive. It's supposed to be your safe harbor. So, after all of that, what's the final takeaway from this whole agonizing journey? It's this powerful shift in perspective. You didn't fail. You weren't weak or stupid. You were a kind person in the face of some serious manipulation. And in the end, by walking away, you didn't lose a thing. You got back the most valuable person you'll ever know, yourself.